I didn't okay.
Yep, perfect. All right, and we are live. Welcome everybody to What's the 411. I am super excited about today's conversation. Cannot wait to jump right into it. But before we jump in, I just want to let you guys in on a great secret. We have Bold Lemonade, okay? Today's conversation is brought to you by Bold Lemonade. Make sure you guys are checking them out on Instagram, on WhatsApp, everything. They are there, and you guys definitely want to tap in. I even have to label my Bold Lemonade because everybody's trying to drink everybody's Bold Lemonade in here. It's just so delicious. All right. But without further ado, let's jump right into the conversation. I have Mr. Richard of Keep6ix organization here, guys. All right. And I'm just going to let him introduce himself, let us know all about the great things that he has going on in our community. So go ahead, Richard.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you again for the opportunity. I'm Richard Miller, the founder of Keep6ix nonprofit organization. Keep6ix is an organization that caters to the marginalized community and individuals that has been impacted by the criminal justice system. We have programs like our Gangs for Tuition program, our music program, and our mentorship program that we run.
And he's being very modest, guys. He's not really digging into all of the great things that they have going on in the community, but that's what the conversation is going to be about today. So talk to us about your journey and how Keep6ix organization got started.
Keep6ix was founded in 2017, and the whole purpose of me founding Keep6ix, or bringing it to life, was the fact of my own personal experience. So I had conflict with the justice system. While I was going through my own journey over the years, I found out that there was a lot of corruption, there was a lot of suppression, and our young men and women who did not have legal counsel or decent representation, they were taken advantage of. And I felt that our community really didn't know about what's going on behind the walls. And I wanted to bring it to light, but also be a voice for the people who did not have a voice.
And that voice is extremely important, especially in our community. We know how a lot of things can get swept under the rug. And so talk to us about the different programs and the different services that Keep6ix organization offers.
So one of the programs I founded, or within our team put together, and I worked tirelessly with, and I was very fortunate to have great support. And that's one of the things I think that when it comes to our community, a lot of young people unfortunately don't have that within the community. I was able to put together a program called Gangs for Tuition. And the purpose for that program was because of the gun violence that was happening in our community. When I sat down and I looked and I did my own evaluation, I found that the gun violence or crime itself escalated because of poverty in our community. And I wanted to do something where an individual could be, what's the word? Let's say they could be abiding citizen, but also contribute back in the community. And one of the ways I felt that was necessary or could do that was through employment, but decent wages job. One of the industry in our community or out there is construction. Construction is a very comfortable paying job with growth. And even as a laborer, someone can go in at $30-something an hour. So I was able to develop this program and put it together with the help of a wonderful lady that is part of the organization. She's also a defense lawyer that runs a law firm in Toronto called Jordana Goldless. And she was a very, very big support, along with other criminal lawyers who just believed in me and wanted to help me. But what made it so special for me was that Jordana herself had her firearm license. And we started looking at how we are able to make an impact in our community. And I work in the construction industry, so I started reaching out to the unions. I was able to get support. I was able to build a program, and the program itself allows people to get the skills that's necessary. But at the same time, we have to look at it. Mental health is a big thing for myself and for a big part of our community. So we have to be able to address these issues and be able to give people support. And people who do not know about mental health or feel scared or may feel skeptical about it, we have to be able to make them feel comfortable. So we brought the mental health component to it, and then the program was launched.
That's fabulous. So when did you guys launch this program?
The program was finally launched just over 2 years ago, but it took me about 3 years to actually get to that stage because there's a whole lot of component when it comes to firearms in our community. So one of the issues we ran into was the fact that when firearms, say for instance, someone submitted a firearm to Jordana, and that firearm is now surrendered to the police. Well, there's a technical aspect that every firearm has to go through ballistics. And if a firearm goes through ballistics and come back with a crime on it, well, she would have to reveal who that person was, right? So then we had to go back to the table and figure out a legal way that we can, be able to help people to turn their lives, but also get the guns off the street. So all of us with other criminal lawyers and people in our community worked at it and were able to launch a program.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And so you did mention like something in our community that definitely affects a lot of us, which is poverty. That is a major reason for a lot of these issues that we face. So talk to us about poverty and how we can overcome poverty and how Keep6ix is helping that strategy.
Poverty itself is something that, unfortunately, one of the things that holds us back in our community is the fact that we, as individuals, we seem to be suppressing each other. Um, Last month, we all know was Black History Month, but to myself personally, every day is Black History. Um, but I will say, and one of the biggest suppression for myself personally is the people that looks like me, right? We tend to hold each other down. There is a few people, or there's a small percentage of our community that tries to hold us up and push and help uh, us to achieve and be where we want. But I would say, out of fairness, there's a big percentage that holds us down. And so what I wanted to do was be able to uplift members in our community. And the part of it was I wanted education and money and having achievements. We had to be able to put that together. The trades is a great opportunity. Not all of us are individuals that we call book smart, but we're very good with our hands, right? So that's where I've kind of went to that angle, but also a person who might have made a bad choice in their life and want to change their life and just looking for an opportunity, I'm able to support them in that manner.
And that's huge that you mentioned, we're talking about poverty and oppression, but it's not only pocket poverty, like when it comes to finances, it's poverty of a mindset as well that we're dealing with in our community, which kind of leads us to the next question I had about mental health and how that affects our community and how Keep6ix is helping the community navigate through the mental health aspect.
The mental health aspect is a very, very big thing because a lot of us, or myself, or others in our community, we're carrying generational trauma. And it's something that we might be going through our lives and living our lives each day, but we're not aware of it, right? It's something that has been passed down from generation, from generation, from generation, right? There's a lot of things that even I found out, I learned as an adult that we have experienced in our lives as adults that has been traumatic to us, but we have learned that, as men, growing up, we're told, I mean, nothing wrong with you, wrong with you. Step up and straighten up yourself. So we get that thing that we have to be strong. We're not allowed to uh, show any sense of weakness, right? So we try to that. So then we tend to overlook those signals in our lives. And those signals in our lives tends to get us on a different path or take us down areas that we don't have any control, although people might feel that we have control of it, but we don't, right? Because we don't have the knowledge to know that this is what's happening with us, or this is something that we need to address, and look after our mental health state. So where I look at it is that Keep6ix itself, I wanted to be able to address and help people. So one of the things I first started doing was individuals that wanted that help. I didn't have funding or anybody to help. So I went to work and I was able to pay for someone who wanted that for themselves. So I remembered paying like $200 a session, for a gentleman to have counseling, just to help him so that he wouldn't end up going back in, or just to help him stay on that path that he needed to be, where I felt that he would be much beneficial in life.
And that's huge. That's very, very important, especially as a Black man. We've heard it, being raised in our community. You mentioned not being able to express yourself in the ways that you need to express yourself, and learning later on in life that that's something that is super essential. So how important is that, like, coming from a Black man right now speaking on it? How important is it for our Black children, Black men, Black teens growing up, men, to know that it is okay to express yourself?
It's very important, and it is okay. What we have to start to do, even as mothers and as fathers, we have to start to unpack ourselves. Because before we are able to say we're going to make our children or our grandchildren or our family better, we need to look at ourselves and what we're putting out there, but also look at what experiences or what trauma we might be carrying, right? So once you're able to unpack even yourself, then you are able to look at the next person or look at your own children and be able to be a much better person. And it's important. Um, it's important in growth. It's important when it comes to our daily life. It's important in our overall um, aspect as a person.
Very, very extremely important. And sometimes, as you mentioned, as parents, family members, siblings, aunts, uncles, whoever, friends, it's important to, like, keep space for individuals to express themselves, but also unpack ourselves. Because, as you talked about, generational trauma, comes with the whole thing. We have to be able to be honest with the man or woman in the mirror.
Yeah. And a lot of times I think we we tend to forget about um, that family and that whole coming together as one, right? I find that now everybody's separated. Unfortunately, there's a lot of single mothers out there doing wonderful work, right? And they're trying to be the mother, be the father, hold a roof over their head and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's that little piece missing with their children. And unfortunately, they don't realize this because their whole priority, it's like a racehorse going around the track with blinders, right? They're focusing on keeping that roof over their head and doing what they have to do to put the food on the table, right? but they figure, well, that alone, that's just enough for their, their children to be happy. But that part is missing too, right? And there's also the part about when it comes to being a single parent, and some mothers are having issues with the father, and taking away the child from the father, or whatever it is that has taken place, right? Again, it comes back to the trauma and the baggage, right? So it has to become a time in their life where we all have to come together, but the support. You don't know, that lady might be or a friend might be going to work every day and acting like she's okay, but you and I don't know what she's really going through, right? Sometimes it's just she so has so much pride, doesn't want to tell anybody because it's like, we have to everybody has to look at, your hair is done, your nails done, everything is good, gonna work. But there's so much going on, right? You're carrying, two tractor trailer load of, baggage and problems and everything else, right? And it's hard, right? But sometimes it's just to take that minute and show some compassion to that person.
And that's a huge point too. There's a lot of a need for holding space for people and just allowing them to feel safe. And that poverty mindset also comes with the pride and the guilt as well. That's something that we got to get rid of, when it comes to expressing ourselves, both male and female in this community. And then, wow, Keep6ix is just doing the thing. They have a lot of, you know, understanding for what's going on out here, that we definitely need the community to get together and act like a real community, because it's important. That's what community is. It's like a big family, right?
Yeah, it is. It is very, very important. But um, for me personally, myself, I just feel it very, very hard when it comes to our community because I just find, unfortunately, and again, I'm speaking from own lived life experience because I felt, I mean, I graduated with, with a BA and a PhD from the School of Hard Knocks, right? It's the best college around town. And it's a top degree, I mean, go anywhere and get a job, no problem, so never have to wait in line to get hired. And one of the things is, our community, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. I mean, there's a whole lot of mental aspect. There's a whole lot of suppression. And I find that the suppression that we speak about, that we get from, or we hear about from ancestors and carrying on, we as a community, we're delivering that same suppression, that same mindset on our own people, but we are blind to it for some reason. But then we speak about it and don't even take it into account, right? So I just tell it the way it is. That's just me, and that's just the way I see it. Unless who don't like it, who can absorb it, can absorb it, who can't swallow it. That's just the way it goes, right?
Well, we have to talk about it because it's a problem in our community that we need to figure it out. So you're not saying anything that's wrong. It's obvious. It's not only obvious to us as Black people, it's obvious to every other community out there that we are struggling with, unity in our community. So talk about how we can kind of start to navigate through and really help each other, like authentically from from the heart.
I think one of the first step is that we have to deal with things in our lives. Um, it goes back to there's a whole lot of trauma. And until we start to unpack those things, it'll never, don't expect any changes, right? To get growth, you have to be able to have a path to grow, right? And it's just like you can't say you want a garden, but you never put any seeds in the ground to grow anything, right? You have to, and it's the same thing when it comes to a person. You have to be able to, work together and help each other, but also unpack and unfold those things that you might be carrying on or might be holding you back, right? And sometimes we don't know, right? Sometimes we don't know. You have to take that time to go and research within yourself to find out that, hey, this is, the day when I stopped to tie my shoelace, and somebody walked over and stopped and looked at me, that was something that just triggered something in my mind that, and I never had any knowledge of it, right? So it's a process and we have to start somewhere, right? Unfortunately, I go out every day and I see other ethnic culture where they're growing together and there's 12 of them living in one house and they're helping each other buy a house and open a business and moving on, right? I never yet see it in my community and I'm not ashamed to see it, man.
It is coming. There definitely is coming a time where it has to happen. You know what I mean? I feel like people are starting to realize that we do need to come together and that we need to start to unpack, as you're saying, all of this trauma.
Yeah, but we've always been trying to come together. It's always, I remember as a child, I remember my mother used to throw a thing called partner, where everybody come in and put that look of money here and you put in and you get your hand on thing and all. And then somebody don't get a hand, it's like everything broke out.
Exactly. There was always a problem though. Somebody was always taking their hand before time or
You
didn't
know?
pay on time or you know what I mean?
Yeah. You want me to say, I'm just telling it the way it is.
It's all facts. It's all facts, 100%. 100%. But like as you were saying about the path to growth, dropping the seeds, we have to be able to nurture those seeds too. Plant the seed is one thing, but making sure it's getting that proper sunlight, it's getting the right amount of water. We're, talking to the plants, we're nurturing it.
Yeah, you have to reason, but in today's society right now, plus there's a lot of the structure is missing, right? There's common courtesy is gone, structure is missing, family values are missing. I was just on the phone today talking to a really close friend, and I was telling her, yeah, yes, last night I was at home. I was flicking through the television, my evening just relaxing. And there's a show that I saw, the advertising, and it was a black woman who was saying it was acceptable to have three husbands, right? And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then in the commercial, it says, oh, there's never been anything like that on television. I'm like, this is what it's getting down to now, right? So just to show you, like, that's what I mean when it comes to family value structure. So that's how our whole community is going now, like the mindset and the programming, that it's gone.
Extremely sad. I did see that commercial as well, where it's like a reality show or something that's
Yeah,
coming out. Yeah, I did see it as well. And she's just, she's like, it's never been done before or something like that. And I was just like saying to myself too, well, what in the world is really happening out here,
yeah, yeah. And there's another one I seen where mothers were taking their son to go date other mothers and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, like a 24-year-old or 21-year-old young man is hooking up with like a 50-odd-year-old woman, another mother and stuff like that. And it's like, wow. Like, so it's just really what's going on now. Like we have to stop and look at the whole picture. Like there's something like they're programming the mind. It's just like in the system, the same thing, how the man wants you to be this way. And if you're not this way, well, then they're gonna give you consequences. Okay, you're not going to their code and how they want to make you and how you're supposed to act, how they want you to act, right? To keep on suppressing you, right? So it's the same thing, man.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, we could definitely have this conversation for a long time. Keep it going. But talk to us about systematic change. You definitely advocated for that. So talk to us about what it is and why you decided to advocate for it.
One of the reasons why I decided to advocate for it because of my own lived experience. One of the things I found when it came to the justice system, they were a big portion of suppression, right? So now if you stop and look, the system itself is built a specific way. Now, any common, any individual with common sense can just see it. Now, if you even go back, say, 400 years, there's nothing that's happening 400 years ago that's not happening today, right? We had our men taken away and put in jail or put on plantations. The women were abused by the slave masters. Then we had our sisters and our women um, being things done to their body because they couldn't afford food for the children because the slave master or other got impregnated while the men were away and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, when they were in working and stuff like that, they got some sense and was able to read and write. Well, they were crucified for that, right? Now, they worked for the man in the system and they weren't paid. The man is making the money. Now, if you look in today's society, in our system right now, our justice system is the same way. The system is built the way it's working. No one can ever tell me about that nonsense about the system is broken. There ain't no system broken. The system is working exactly the way it's working, right? Because if you stop and you look at the federal government. And well, let's remember what they say. Well, they're working, but they're contributing back to society. Well, how they contribute back to society, but there's nothing for them, but that's their way of paying for whatever crime they've done or whatever, right? To learn. But you are making millions of dollars from it. Millions. No one ever stop and look at it. But unfortunately, I just took the time because if you look at even the federal government, every federal system in Ontario or in Canada, they have offenders working. The federal government gives an offender about $34, $36 every 2 weeks. And an offender will work from Monday to Friday, right? Now, the federal government does a tremendous amount of things in their prison. They make parachutes for the Army. That's made right here in Gravenhurst, Ontario, at a place called Beaver Creek. They make eyewear glasses. They do carving. The Aboriginal does carving there that's sold. You have other institution that does cabinets, tables, bed for the Army. I think the fire department and all these people that they use it, right? So we look at all that, right? I don't know what the women do at their facility. I know they have a pet business that, people drop off dogs or cats, whatever, for daycare. But the moral of the story is that it's a multi-million-dollar business, right? Now, an offender, a bottle of shampoo, or let's even let, okay, you wash your hair less than you bathe. You can go a 3 day without washing your hair, or, even, so forth. So say even showering, you have to shower every day. A bottle of shower gel is running you about $7 out of that $30 that you get every 2 weeks. If you want to make a phone call, well, you got to load your PIN card. A call is costing you about 50 cents if it's if you have a local number. If you don't, then that costing you long distance charges, right? So the moral of my story is the fact that our system is working exactly the way it's working. It's suppressing individual. Because when you get out, you have nothing. Some individuals, when they're released, they don't even have family because there's guys who's inside and their family passed away. They might have one grandmother that supported them, right? And they might have been doing a 10-year bid or a 9 or a 15 or 18-year bid or a 5-year bid. Well, their grandmothers died. So they're coming out now, they have no support. because that one granny was their only support, right? Or that one mother, who knows, or that auntie or that cousin. So it's all gone. So what do they have, right? You know they're going to be on parole. Only thing parole cares about is the copy and paste, whatever they need to do, and keep on pushing them. Oh, well, you know, you're not obeying me right now. You know what? I'm going to violate you and send you back. It's the same thing the slave master did. So, there's a whole impact that our community really don't get, and that's the reason why I wanted to advocate and make for that change, right? Because you can't tell me that you're here for reintegration. As a matter of fact, my own personal opinion is that the correctional system should not even be allowed to use that word reintegration, because they ain't doing no reintegration. They're doing more suppression more than anything else. They're trained, 90% of the parole officers are trained to do one thing: copy, paste, and violate whoever is on your caseload. Because if you have a parole officer who's doing at least, say, let's just pick a number, say 20 violation a month, sending back, that means they're sending back 20 offenders a month. And you're not pulling that parole officer in and saying, well, what's the problem here? You're thinking that they're just doing their job. No. Something's wrong. You see what I'm saying? And don't forget about the conspiracy and the corruption that's going on, right? Even just last year, there's an incident that I took up and I brought up and I spoke on to the media about, because they tried to cover it up. There was a correctional officer who was bringing in carbon fiber knives in the Toronto East Detention Center, drugs, cell phone, and he got caught. They searched his vehicle, and I think it was 20-something carbon fiber knives. But his case, if you never heard about it on the news, did you? No. You never. If you Google it, you can't find it. Because guess what? They got the internet scrub of the case. Somebody did. Right? So it took me a whole lot of legwork to go even find it. And then finally, the CBC News did a story of me speaking about it and bringing it to light. That's how it got back or even got out.
And so what's going on with the case now? Do you happen to know?
He's still in front of the court.
Wow. And that's just one that got caught.
That's just one. But then you hear, oh, these offenders are locked up. We found a contraband in the institution today. There was a knife found, it was in the wall. But hey, there was another case that that I brought out to light where they built a unit called the Safer Program. It's a program, again, that's built in the United States by psychiatrists. They brought it to Canada to test it, and I think it was Thunder Bay they did it. Then they brought it to Toronto East. Well, they started taking all the Black offenders, just picking them, and made this one unit, and it made, I think it was like 3 other units, called a Safer Unit. Now, they locked them up, was supposed to be for 4 hours. 4 hours went to 2, 2 went to nothing. So they're locked up 24 hours a day. Sometimes they're allowed out for half an hour for a phone call. But they start getting beat. Their offenders getting punched in their face. Their wrists have been broken. Eyes are being bloodshot, beaten by guards. Right? But you never heard nothing about it. So I start getting calls. Like in 1 week, there had to be probably about 14 calls. So we start looking into it with some lawyers and stuff. And we found out, well, the Safer Program is something where the guards actually even had built a WhatsApp group called a Misfit group. So they're talking about what offenders they're going to assault, what they're doing to the offender, what their game plan, what contraband they're going to put on the range so the unit can be locked down. They'll do it on a Friday because Saturdays, let's have there's no search on the weekend, so they have to wait till Monday.
This is
Then
the safer unit.
yeah, that was that. It ran out of the Toronto East. So then there was a couple interviews I did on again with the newspaper, with the television, and then I wrote a letter to the minister. I wrote a letter to the premier, and I just kept on writing and bringing. And then finally, I think it was November of last year, the program ended. Right.
Wow.
There was an individual that's from the city here, one of the underground rapper, Bizlo. He was there and stuff like that. And he came and speak about his mental health with us and stuff like that. He started using his music as his therapy for his mental health. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Right. So there's a lot that goes on, right? But again, we're in the dark. We don't see it. But when you're out there, it's happening. That's what's happening. When you are a tax-paying, citizen, that is what you're paying. And nobody's like, until it's your child or your husband or your family member, it's a different ball game. But everybody, you'd be surprised to know what goes on in your system.
Wow. That's alarming. Not just alarming, it's hurtful too, to know that these things are happening behind closed doors. And as you said, we can't call that reform. We can't call that reintegration. That is definitely suppression, abuse, and there's a whole lot more words that we can use for that type of behavior.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but you have to look at it this way from another lens. It's working. They have a plan for this, because if you use violence, remember, they're trying to train our minds and train us, right? So you have to look at it. If they use that abuse on us, then what happens to an individual? They start using abuse, right? That's what's happening. That's exactly what they're training and trying to bring. So that's the reason why you hear they say, well, oh well, Jason got out of the jail and oh, he's back in 48 hours. Well, Jason went out and like someone spoke to him the wrong way, he gave someone a straight right. Because that's where he came from. That's why you program him to act vicious.
Wow. And so I know you guys advocate a lot for the youth as well, and youth mentorship is super important. Talk to us about why mentorship to the youth is so important, and how you guys have developed your programs to help our youth.
Youth are important because of their mindset. We have to be able to get to the youth at a young age and be able to give them that nurturing that they need. Because again, it goes back to what we spoke about earlier about even mothers being single and trying to be mom, father, job, roof, grocery, and making sure that, her love and son or daughter have whatever they need. But she herself is missing, the child is still missing. So that mentorship part plays a big part in structuring that young person, right? If that young person has somebody who he's able to have that relationship, have been a positive person or someone to turn to, there's a less chance of that young person going on that wrong path or get caught up in a bad conversation that put him in a bad situation.
Very important. Very important. And so what different types of programs do you guys have for the youth?
So the programs we have is the mentorship for the youth, music program. I was very fortunate enough to have, I felt music is very big in our community, and also sports. So one of the things, I developed a program called Keep6ix Youth in Music, and was very fortunate that Universal Records or Universal Music reached out to us and came up and not just conversation, but actually put some financial stability donation towards our program. And then we're very fortunate enough that the Black Chambers of Commerce came forth also to support our youth and gave a financial support towards the program. So we run a 6-week music program for youth, and it covers everything from singing, vocal coaching. We able to have a very renowned gospel singer, Sharon Riley, does the vocal coaching with them. Um, we have the engineering and this big studio in the city, and a gentleman that I know personally, Vance McKenzie from Vance World Media. He runs the music program out of his studio, and it covers engineering, production, um, even the opportunity to learn how to make their own music videos and so forth, right? So that's how it is. And then we have a basketball that we do with 13 to 20, 8 years old, 29, where we have basketball games, tournament throughout the city and so forth. We just started our first one on March 25th for this year, running until in the summer.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So if you got a good basketball skills, hey, we want to see you on the court. Don't be shy. I got some nice Keep6ix basketball jerseys. I got your baseball hat and your water bottles or shakers for you too. So come on out and, put on your shoes and let's get on the court and kick some ball.
All right. Okay, you guys heard that, eh? Make sure you guys get out there, get on that court because they got you all hooked up. And if you have a great singing voice, as you said, our community is extremely talented when it comes to the music,
Yeah.
sports, the arts, we're out here doing the thing. So make sure you guys connect. All
Yeah,
right.
definitely. I've seen so much great um young people in our community that it's so talented, it's not even funny. I even recall that same young gentleman that I spoke about, Bislow. This guy was just so talented. I heard him sing some songs, you know what I mean? And it was just so positive. And I'm dying for this guy to come out and start mentoring some of these young heads up here and, from his own struggle and stuff like that, because it's amazing. Like, this talent, there's individuals right here in our own community that should be at the Junos, and some of them should be at the Grammys. And, what I mean, I should be seeing them on at the number one top chart, the Billboard and stuff like that, right? So that's the way I see it.
Wow. Definitely, definitely. I hear that. You're a big inspiration. I was telling you before we jumped on the call here, as soon as I put the flyer out, there was a lot of engagement, a lot of people like, oh, Richard from Keeps. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a good interview, ready to tap in. So talk to us about your why and what keeps you motivated or inspired.
What keeps me motivated and inspired is the next generation. So Keep6ix itself, there's a meaning behind Keep6ix. If anybody knows or been in the system knows Keep6ix, looking out. You're the watchman. Inside the institution, you say 6 up. The guard's coming. Look out. You want to do something, there's got to be someone keeping six. It goes back, and it's a name that goes back even to history, because when they were back in the day when they're doing bank heists, or the guy who's driving, he was a six man. He's looking out, he's driving, right? So I created it as something that anybody, old heads, young heads, they can all relate to it. Keep6ix. So, but in that term, it's not about doing something or go do a bank job. It's about looking out for the next generation. I am still the lookout man, but I'm looking out for the next generation that's supposed to come after me and come after that, and when I'm gone and so forth, right? That's how it is. And what inspired me is I never want to see our next generation or young people making choices and getting caught up in the system, right? I want to be able for them to be empowered. I want them to have the mindset that they can build a very positive future and build whatever they want to do, whatever their dreams, they can fulfill that dream, right? And that's what keeps me going every day, right? I've got a 40-odd-year-old dude went through a program who just said, man, I'm tired, brother. I mean, I just need to something. I mean, I see what you do. I just need you to give me some game and, like, put me on. What I mean? So, but I can put you on with some knowledge because I was fortunate enough that I had individuals. It was what some of my own legal team that just gave me that power and that inspiration and knowledge. Because my lawyer said to me one day, "Look, man, if you go and knock somebody else out, holler at me and tell me what prison you want to go spend the rest of your life at, because the man's going to be holding you down for a long, long damn time. So you just tell me what you want to do right now, right?" And now, this guy, his name was Sean McDonald. It's like it was my own personal legal team, him and another lady named Allison Craig, who they're both around, and they just schooled me. And, like, you got to use your head. You can use your mind and beat them at their own game. You don't have to use your right hand, but use your mind. That's more powerful. But put a pen to your mind with some paper, it's over, right? You got a knockout punch without even have to swing.
Powerful words from a powerful individual. I like that. Yes, yes,
Yeah, so
definitely.
my hat goes off to my man Sean McDonald. He's number one always.
All right. Okay. So you have some new developments, some new things happening with Keep6ix. Talk to us about it. What can we expect to see in the future?
Future Keep6ix. So for one of my important thing right now in our community, I find is hard and housing. I was at Collins Bay Institution last week, and I came across some brothers, and some brothers said, "Man, look, man, I've been down here for 16 years. I mean, I'm gonna get a chance to come out. My support is gone. I have no support out there. My one support, is my auntie. My auntie died, and my sister passed away while I'm in here. But I have nowhere to go, right? And I thought about it. My main support right now is to build and have something that when my brothers and sisters leave and get out here, give them that support, not just support in a job wise or emotionally or mentally or counseling, but support with a roof and housing over their head.
Very, very important. And that's a huge, huge step. So talk to us about how the community can help you establish this.
If my community wants to help, you can always reach out to us. And how you can help is, even if you know of a property, or if you're into the real estate development or have a property that you feel that you'd like to contribute and help with, I'm open to have that conversation and work with a corporation or somebody and see what we can build.
Okay, so you guys heard it here. Make sure if you know of anybody or if you are that somebody, make sure that you reach out to Mr. Miller here and support this phenomenal impact that he is not only just talking about, but he's actually putting in that work, putting in that work. How long has Keep6ix.org been established? Like, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since 2017.
2017. Wow, that is huge. Huge.
I
I,
walked out of a federal institution and started just going at it, the swing. Everything in my path. You know, I was like a bulldozer, and I still have to be, got to
definitely.
do it. It's
Yeah.
needed and it's important to me. And
Hmm.
I want to be able to give the next generation something where they can carry on, and empower. It's important, you know. I feel that a lot of times for us, we don't take that time to look for our future young ones. we work, we do whatever we have to do, and we think about today and tomorrow and getting by the next day. But we don't think about when we're gone or the other ones. We're hoping that if something happens to us, they'll be okay.
Very true. Very true. There's not many people who are out here walking the walk and, talking the talk and walking the walk, but you're doing them both. So I just want to shout you out for that. You're definitely doing the thing, and the community there is a lot of people in our community who are willing to support. Sometimes we don't know what's out there, and that's the purpose, obviously, too, of this show, What's the 411, is just to bring awareness to all the great things that are happening in our community, and Keep6ix.org is definitely one of them. So I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your inspirational journey with us, your story with us, and let us know where we can keep in touch with you. And if somebody has any information on how they can support, where do they turn?
You can always reach us on all social media network at Keep, Keep, the number 6ix.org, or you can email us at info@keep6.org.
Okay.
Right?
And do you
Or
have
you can call us at 1-800-640-3075. Again, it's 1-800-640-3075.
Awesome. So Keep6ix.org on all social media platforms, guys, and then 1-800-640-3075, right?
Yeah, 3075. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. And I want to shout out all the families and loved ones out there that's got, a family member locked down. Hey, keep supporting. Hey, the day's coming, no matter what. One thing about Canada, even if they're down on for a murder charge, one day or another, they got to be coming home, right? And just keep on supporting. They need our support, and whatever you can do, do it. It's hard, but we have to just keep our people alive and keep inspiring our young heads, keep uplifting one another. And just next time you see someone walking beside you and they got their head down, holler at them and say hello. Ask them if they're okay. It's okay to ask a question, right? Just tell them that, hey, I care. That's why I asked.
And you heard it from the Watchman right here, guys. Definitely. Give us a word, an inspirational quote, maybe that you kind of go by on a daily basis to end off the show with.
You will come across a lot of obstacles in life, and you will fall down 15 times before you get to the next step that you really want to go. But each time you fall down, get up and brush yourself off and keep on going forward. Okay, once you reach to where you're going, that's the most enjoyment time of your life. And you will look back on all those obstacles and you can pass it on to somebody else for them to come along and those same steps and fall and watch you at the top.
Okay, paying it forward. All right. Thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate your time and all of the information that you provided us with today, the education, the edification, and the inspiration as well to ourselves. Look at your story and push ourselves to support our brothers and sisters in our community, and also to help ourselves to keep our heads up, and pay it forward by when we see another with their head down, always make sure that we're lifting them up. All right.
Always.
Thank you so much. And we definitely will be in touch. All right.
Thank you so much.
All
Stay
right.
strong, my people.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, you know what? That was a fabulous conversation. Make sure you guys tap in, okay? Keep6.org. That's a number 6ix.org on all social media platforms. And then if you have anybody that you're looking to refer to Keep6ix, or if you want to send any kind of information over to Mr. Miller, you definitely can give them a call as well. 1-800-640-3075. Okay, so make sure that you're tapping in to all of the great things that they have going on. Check their website, join the program. If you're good at singing, ball, whatever it is, check out the services that they offer and make sure that you guys are tapping in. All right. Again, I just want to make sure that you guys are checking out Bold Lemonade online. Okay. You guys can pick them up at so many different grocery stores across Toronto, but get your lemonade and make sure you label it in your fridge so that nobody drinks your stuff. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will see you